Following up on the excellent first volume, Volume 2 dives into Sayaka's high school years, primarily focusing on her first year of high school. We get to see Sayaka's development from the love-hurt girl she is by the end of Volume 1 to the love-stricken young woman that's too afraid to make that leap that we encounter in the mainline series. This volume picks up right where the last one left off. Sayaka had given up love only to immediately renege on that the second she sees Toko and decides that she's going to walk beside this girl. From there, the story continues right after their first encounter. Or one would think it would. Instead, there is a good 40 pages or so that serves as a hacked up summary of Sayaka's part in the Bloom Into You manga that covers the start of the series to right before Sayaka gets rejected by Toko. Why does it do this at the start of this volume? I really have no idea. It's an honestly confusing beginning to the novel that made me think we were going to just be getting a speedrun recap of Sayaka's story in the series proper. But no, it only lasts for a bit, and before we know it, we're jumping right back to where we left off last time. This is a baffling choice. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to see some parts of the original story in a novelized form. The descriptions are good, and it covers some of my favorite moments from the mainline series. But it's also incredibly truncated and out of place. The volume would have been better served placing it after it covered Sayaka's first year, making it make more sense chronologically and not forcing the reader to sift through 40 pages of repeated material in order to get to the new material. Again, it's not badly written or anything, it's just not really needed, or at least not needed at the start of the book. However, once you get into the story proper, things quickly improved as the story finally jumps into where we left off from Volume 1. We get to see Sayaka form a new friend group, join the student council, and gradually develop into the dilemma-filled woman we see in the main series. Her relationship with Toko is the main focus, of course, and we see it develop into the complicated dynamic that is presented to us in the manga. The author does a wonderful job progressing their friendship throughout the volume, providing memorable character moments that go a long way towards building up their relationship. It is engaging to see Sayaka's journey continue in this section, as we see how her prior escapades with love color her dynamic with Toko. She so very much wants to fall in love again, to be with someone again, but she also doesn't want to potentially ruin the relationship she has with Toko. She's fine telling herself that her and Toko can walk parallel lines, because maybe, someday, she'll finally be the person who can make the decision to make those lines cross. Sayaka's growth from the prior volume is also nice, as she is much more aware of other people and herself. Her solid self-identity makes an interesting contrast with Toko's desire to become her sister. It also plays into their relationship in an intriguing way. Sayaka knows herself incredibly well, and in her own words, also knows that you can't be anyone but yourself, no matter how much you might change over the course of your life. This knowledge allows her to know Toko's desire to become her sister would never come true. And yet, despite this knowledge, she doesn't try to interfere. She doesn't do this to honor Toko's wishes. Sayaka herself describes why. I don't think you could call my self-centered fear of being hated for overstepping into her personal life kindness. Sayaka is a coward, afraid to make that leap. She wants Toko to come to her, or for herself to become the person that Toko might need. She's an enabler, noticing the self-destructive path that Toko is putting herself on while doing nothing to stop it, because she doesn't want to ruin their relationship. And it's also incredibly riveting to read. Seeing Sayaka try to muster up the courage to finally reach across that chasm between her and Toko, only to falter and never attain what she so badly wants, is saddening. Knowing where this all goes makes it even more saddening. But that sadness isn't all there is to the book. As I said before, Sayaka forms a new friend group that offer up some lighthearted shenanigans that act as a good contrast to the tragic irony of where Sayaka's love for Toko goes. Sayaka's grandmother makes another brief appearance, but it's impactful here as well, giving Sayaka some nice family support in her own way. The student council also acts as a nice contrast, as Sayaka's senpais are incredibly unreliable and make for some mildly amusing moments. As well, the interactions between Toko and Sayaka are incredibly enjoyable and adorable, especially when Toko has a run-in with Sayaka's cats and gets to learn what rejection feels like. The volume ends on an optimistic note as well, as we see Sayaka make peace with losing to you, and we get a hint of what is to come in the next volume. The writing for this volume is also really freaking good, as there are several standout lines, one of my favorite being, "Though time might heal all wounds, the sutures would leave a scar that could not be erased." which is just an incredibly raw way to describe Sayaka's experience with love across the 2 volumes. The depictions of the environments are even better than they were in the prior novel, really helping you to visualize the setting. Character development is also handled excellently, and the author does a wonderful job growing Sayaka as a character and letting you know just how she ticks. This volume continues the Sayaka spin-off series run of great light novels, even if I think it might be a little bit weaker than the prior novel due to the repeated content. Still, this was a blast to read, and it makes me all the more excited to see Sayaka finally get her due in the final installment.